It's Tuesday, April 4th, live from Court City. It is ImmaLetYouFinish with Courtney and Amy.
Why's it gotta be Court? Why can't it be Amy's City too?
Because they're court, as in people going to court.
Know.
Well, here's the thing, because we got it all. We got Praz on trial on one part of downtown. Across the street, we have Donald Trump going to do his whole situation today. Miss Thing, the first day of the Praz trial, they started out with a bang. They started with Leonardo DiCaprio. I'm like, this whole thing.
Is it an underage sex trafficking? Sorry,
No,
I set that into my cup of coffee.
No.
Is it an alleged? No.
He doesn't like them underage. He just likes them models and 19. He's remember when they used to have that magazine Barely Legal? Shit. It's very that.
All right, well, Praz, yeah. Hi, today is also, I'm sorry, I just dropped something and today is also April 4th. We're taping on April 4th, which is the 55th anniversary of the assassination of Martin Luther King, which is kind of mind-blowing that it's 55 years, only because I kind of remember it. Kind of, sort of. Remember when you were not even born. But
I was born. He was killed the year after I was born. I was born in 1967. He was assassinated in 1968, which is why I tell people when they try to talk about, the fight for, racism and civil rights in this country, they're like, it was generations ago. I'm like, actually, it wasn't generations ago.
Not even generations ago.
I was alive when Martin Luther King was assassinated. I was alive when Medgar Evers was assassinated. I was a child. I don't remember.
Yeah. I remember Martin Luther King very vividly.
Right.
For not to go into it to start off, but I do remember it very, very vividly.
Where were you home? Like, how did you find out?
I was a kid, and my parents are very, we discuss stuff and I have a very vivid memory of my father, who is not a super emotional guy, I believe, crying.
Right.
And hitting. And my mother, the next day, to her credit, took my sister and I there's a church down the street from our house, an AME Zion church, black church, and took us for a memorial. It was 100 degrees, and there were a whole bunch of really nice black ladies in nurses' outfits, which I couldn't figure out what that was about, coming up to me and thanking us for being there. And all I remember is just wanting to go home because Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In was on. And I was like, this is really sad. I want to watch television.
And it's funny. It's like just being a kid, not realizing what actually happened. And then years later and thinking back to the experience, like, oh, shit. Right.
Yeah, no. I mean, and it was also, and then we can go, this is horrible. I had a lot. Some of my best friends were black, Courtney. And it was at that moment after that like half of my black friends decided that they hated me and they could no longer be my friend. I'm like, but I didn't kill them.
Right.
And that was when I came up with my mother is biracial thing. So we didn't use the term biracial back then. It wasn't a term.
I'm sorry. What?
I've told you this before.
No, you haven't.
Okay.
Oh, no,
for literally a minute. And you would have to see what my mother looked like back then. But my mother had very curly hair, and she is olive complected, darker than I am. And she ran a daycare center with other people. So, and we had black friends and blackity black. And so everybody a couple of people were like, we don't like you anymore. And I'm like, but I didn't. And so I decided to tell people that my mother, I couldn't get away with black, completely black. That wouldn't fly. So I told them that she was half black. And that worked for about, I think I got a 4-day break from Venus McCrary threatening to beat me up on a regular basis. And then somebody said, wait a minute. I've been to Amy's house. I know both her parents. Because, that was back in the day. Nobody saw anybody's dad.
Right.
Dads were this mysterious figure that woke up in the morning, went to work, and came home.
Right.
Yeah, and came home. And everybody was like, wait a minute. I know Amy's family. I know Amy's mom. I know Amy's sister. She is so not black. And ladies and gentlemen, hence began my career in the music industry. Anyway, hi, how are you? I can't believe I thought I told you that story.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. It was like 4 days. It wasn't like a Rachel Dolezal thing. I wasn't trying to, act black. I just figured it would save me from getting my ass kicked in the morning. Anyway, hi, how are you?
I'm good. It's morning. I'm drinking a cup of cocoa and talking to you.
Look at you. Look at you. I'm exhausted and allergies.
Are you still on spring break?
No, we don't start it till Thursday. And it's 3 days, so whoop-de-doo.
I thought you had spring break. You were off for like a week or something.
That's in the city university. We get the Jewish holidays off, but I teach asynchronous, so it doesn't make a difference. The Catholic school, oddly enough, Courtney, and this is a shocking newsflash. Oddly enough, Catholic schools don't take Passover off. Go figure.
Oh, wow.
Go freak. And by the way.
However, did that.
I don't know.
I went to Catholic school, and when all my friends would be off for the Jewish holidays, and I always was in my uniform going to school, I'd be like, something's not right about this situation.
Not fair, but happy Passover. It starts happy Passover. When by the time this airs, it will be Passover. So happy Passover. One of the few holidays I have a vague idea of what's going on.
Is Passover the one where you're not supposed to have flour? Is that Passover?
Yes. That's where you get your matzahs from.
Right.
Which I enjoy a matzah. Do you enjoy a matzah?
I do like a matzah.
I do like a matzah with butter and salt on it, which is completely unkosher, but whatever. I do like matzahs and peanut butter. Very tasty. Oh, okay. And they go on sale after Passover.
Like the day after.
Like the day after. Like Easter candy. The day after.
I love the after Easter candy sale because they have those malted eggs that I love. So I love those malted eggs. They're like Whoppers, but with colors.
No, they're so good. And the sad little hollow bunnies. The sad bunnies.
Yeah, and then those weird Peeps.
Don't even get me started on Peeps.
Wait.
They have all sorts of watermelon flavor now.
Miss Thing. I think I was in the supermarket.
You and Aldi's, they have the Lidls. They have crazy. And I saw
that there's Pepsi.
No, it's disgusting.
There's some weird. I walked by and I was like, "Does that say Pepsi?"
Yes, it does. It does. As if a Peep wasn't disgusting enough, they have to I know. Let's add.
Let's
flavors.
Put it in a cola. It's like what the fuck?
Yeah, it's Peeps are. Bless their hearts.
I mean, I don't mean to keep coming back to the Praz thing, but this morning
I want to know how the segue between artificially flavored marshmallow and Praz.
Because it was on, I'm trying to avoid the news because if you're not here in New York, I'm sure it's like this everywhere, but literally all of our news has been, the way they're acting around this Trump situation has been sitting outside the house. Yesterday, they followed the car down the street.
Yeah, it was very OJ.
It was very OJ. I was like, guys, this is crazy. But then this morning, they start saying the first day of the trial, Leonardo DiCaprio was the first witness. And then they were trying to say that Praz, I guess, is being accused of basically getting over $100 million in this sort of money. And I'm just kind of thinking,
bless his heart.
What?
Yeah. Well,
This is the craziest thing I've ever heard.
I love it. I think it's great.
And it makes me think of all three members of the group, and I'm just kind of like, you have one who
dysfunctional. Literally, they have won the award for the last band you thought would be this bananas.
I mean, you absolutely hit it right. I thought they were going to go on that reunion tour. How could you? How could it actually have happened?
No, the whole thing.
One has this kind of espionage shit that's really the plot of a bad movie on Netflix.
Right.
Wyclef, and I just, listen, he's a great producer, but
he's not.
Well, I do think he's a great producer.
I'm sorry, Jerry Duplass is a great producer.
But yes, that's true. That is true.
I mean,
but I'm not going to take.
He does do some good stuff.
Yes, he does do some good stuff. But I think all the other shit has overshadowed that part of the talent. And the Carnival was a great record, and so was the Carnival too.
Anyway,
then we go to Lauren, who's now, she's the one who keeps getting to really sparkle. She's one of the headliners of the upcoming Essence Festival where they're celebrating the 25th anniversary.
She's not going to show up.
Wait, celebrating the 25th anniversary of the Miseducation. Okay, can we just talk about this for a minute with that record? I worked that record. I understand why people feel like they love that record, but I do not understand the obsession with everybody needing an anniversary to it and just needing to see it performed in its entirety. I just don't get it.
Well, because she's only got one album. I mean, she's only made one album on her own. So, I mean, you know, a live album to me does not count. You know, she didn't. But anyway.
I was at that live album taping. It took all day.
Yeah. Can we... okay, so people outside of the industry may not know names of people, you know, like obviously if you and I sat here and talked about product managers, nobody would know, nor would they care. Right. Or publicists, you know, these are people we know. But Seymour Stein, let's put it this way. If you were listening to music in the 80s or the 70s, but mainly the 70s and the 80s, there is not a record that you heard that he didn't have some hand in.
The cool ones.
Yeah. He and Sire Records, his partner Richard Goddard, but mainly him, he is basically responsible for college radio. He's basically responsible for alt rock. He came up with the term new wave as, I mean, the French obviously has it as a film, as a way to market stuff. There is no... If it was on Sire, you knew it was great. So Seymour passed the other day.
First of all, old school Music Man. Can we just put that in there? No, like they do not make them.
Barry Gordy is the last one alive.
They don't make them like that anymore. One who has a real ear for talent, real ear, like can pick something, know it, who knows how to nurture that talent, and let that talent do the thing that they do, but also he was able to break a lot of acts that, you know, you look back and you're like, wow, you really did some shit. I mean, he's responsible for Madonna. I mean, love her or hate her, Madonna, Talking Heads, like all of the mute stuff that came to America, Depeche Mode, all of the things.
The Replacements. He didn't discover the Replacements, but he brought one of Lou Reed's best albums, Richard Hell and the Voidoids. I mean, we would literally, I mean, basically every group that you listen to, the Pretenders. I mean, he changed the sound, and yeah, old school record man, and because he knew music. He grew up with music. He was one of these people. You read the bios of these guys. It's mainly men, unfortunately, but you read the bios of these people. They started out in the mailroom somewhere. And he started out at Billboard, and he was one of these obsessive Orthodox Jewish kids from Brooklyn. There's something in the water out there. Obsessed with music and just smart. And I know people who have worked for him and with him, and I'm sure
when I met Sandy Alouette was at Sire.
No, and he's you know, and Ice-T, he's responsible for Ice-T making. I mean, did he discover them? No, he didn't discover Madonna. I mean, she was already Madonna, but he gave her the chance. No, she was.
Well, but he gave
her the chance.
He signed her. Right. She had been toiling away of years playing in bands. She comes to his, you know.
Is that what you're calling it, toiling?
Toiling away.
Is that what it's called,
playing in bands, doing her thing.
Well, he wanted to sign Mark Kamens. That's what it was. He wanted to sign the guy who produced the record. No, he had great ears.
Mark Kamens didn't. Well, Mark Kamens was the DJ who originally played her record. He was the DJ at Danceteria. She kept trying to get him to play a record, and finally, like after a year, he played everybody. And Michael Rosenblatt, who actually was A&R for Seymour, was at Danceteria that night and met her. They danced all night, and he took her to see Seymour, who was in the hospital, and he signed her literally in his hospital bed.
Right. I'm sure she threatened to cut off his oxygen. No, I mean, all joking aside, when you read the tributes, I've met him a few times, mainly in the context of Rock and Roll Hall of Fame stuff. And he was treated with absolute reverence. I mean, the old boy club in the best sense of the word. I used to work for a fairly well-known manager, Gary Kerfus, who managed actually Talking Heads and Big Audio Dynamite and Debbie Harry and Blondie. And like the highlight of my day would be Gary and Seymour on speakerphone screaming at each other like two old Jews, New York Jews, in that way that only New Yorkers can appreciate. Because anybody outside of New York would think they were actually fighting.
Would be fighting, be like, no, we're just loud. That's the way we communicate.
Yeah, we're just talking.
That's it.
We grew up in loud households. You had to scream to be heard.
Like that's it.
Yeah. So I mean, seriously, I mean,
no, he was definitely one of those guys. Whenever I didn't know him, but I'd seen him, and when you see him, you'd be like, oh wow, look at Seymour's died.
No, Seymour's died.
He's kind of like that guy.
And I haven't read nobody has said anything.
It's been gushing.
Negative.
Everybody's been coming out. He gave me my shot. Right. He really believed in me. Right. He championed my record. He championed my art. He put out my first single. There's a song name I forget the band. They named a song after him. They wrote a song about him. I had no idea that he also had a connection with Cyndi Lauper because he signed her later and he did the Detour album with her. Her Detour record.
He did. He's one of those it's 6 degrees of him. If he didn't sign you directly, then he had some hand in steering you in that. And I've read people's testimonials, civilians, not just famous people, and said he couldn't have been like nicer and understanding and knew music. He knew music. And if there's
I feel like we don't have that anymore.
We don't.
Like it's all dying off. Him. We got Clive is still alive, but that generation of men who, they have their faults like everybody does, but they knew music. Well,
because they're signing off of TikTok now. They're signing off of social media hits. Nobody's being an A&R person now just means that you have a really good internet connection.
And there's no artist development. Development. He's not the same way.
Yeah, he's so rest in peace to Seymour. And Richie Sakamoto died. And I am going to make a confession. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite kind of 80s, 90s jams is Greg Fillingane's Behind the Mask. And I had no idea that was basically a cover of a Sakamoto song.
That's the thing. First of all, he's been recording since the late 70s.
Right.
And I don't believe very many of his albums even charted in the U.S. But he was
probably the Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence. Probably.
Literally, though, this man was a musical genius.
Yeah,
he made great music, great electronic. To me, it's hard to put his music in a box. It's like everything. A fusion of so many things. Well,
Yellow Magic Orchestra, which is how most of us came to, was sort of in that kind of way. It's easy to come up with a catchphrase seen as the Japanese Kraftwerk.
Right.
I guess. I mean, that was the closest corollary, I guess. And then he started doing soundtrack work. But I mean, and then he does this, Behind the Mask, which then was covered by, Michael Jackson and then Eric Clapton. He doesn't really, I think they use a sample, but the point is that he was bringing this very avant-garde kind of sensibility, classical sensibility, but then actually, he reminds me in a way of a much more successful Arthur Russell. You know what I mean? In that he's in a Madonna video. He's in one of my favorite Madonna, Rain.
Like he plays the director, And didn't he did a movie with David Bowie, right? Wasn't he in a movie?
He's in Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence. And he's an Oscar winner. He won an Oscar for that. He won an Oscar for The Revenant, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So just like really gorgeous. I mean, how often do we talk about a soundtrack producer being, and not a soundtrack like where there's a bunch of songs of people who are on the label?
No, he did scores that were just really amazing and gorgeous.
Did you
and
see
textural.
That clip of Yellow Magic Orchestra on Soul Train?
Yes.
Don Cornelius don't know what the hell is going on with that. Don was just like, they told me I had to book them.
I mean,
but anyway, so that's it gives, again, one of the good things about streaming. Many bad things, but one of the good things is that you can go type in his name and listen to him.
Absolutely.
Part of being an educated music listener is educating yourself. It's a shame that sometimes we only, and I'm guilty of it too, we only reach out and pay attention to people after they pass. But it doesn't matter because the music goes on. So really give it, because just a great, and listen to some of Seymour's, go on and type in Sire. I heard his memoir is supposed to be hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Like really hilarious. So
yeah, he has a memoir. There's a book, a retrospective on Sire Records that's really good. There's a lot out there on Seymour. And that's the good thing about everybody walking around with computers in your pocket. It's all very accessible.
Right, unless you need to find out something that's important and then suddenly you don't know how to work the thing. But if you need to find what's trending on TikTok, there's a computer in your pocket. All right, Knicks in the playoffs. Enough said. Oh, congratulations to UConn. I have
congratulations to UConn, and congratulations to the LSU Tigers, because the ladies won their first ever NCAA championship. So congratulations.
Even though their coach is she's bad news, the coach.
Well, listen, honey, we're all bad news.
No, but sometimes, listen, no, we're not all bad news. I'm not bad news. You're not bad news. Are you? Do you do bad things?
Well, it depends.
Do you do? No, come on, seriously, you're a good person.
I am, but depends on who you ask. I'm not perfect, and I've definitely had my moments where I've done things where it's not always the best.
I'm not a fan of the woman. That said, great coach, and congratulations to the team. And it was a great championship, which of course I missed because I'm oblivious to anything that's going on in the world. But it was one of the highest watched women's sporting events, and maybe people will get it.
Broke records, yeah.
Yeah, maybe 10 million people, I think they said. Maybe people will get it through their heads that maybe take women's sports seriously.
And women are athletes, and you don't have to create a debate because one woman makes a gesture on Saturday night and you guys have no problem with it. The black woman makes the same gesture and she's all of these horrible things. It's just some bullshit, and it's a sideshow, and you guys can go fuck yourselves. Merry Christmas.
I don't. Yeah, I mean,
I say that because I didn't.
Yeah, it's misogynist and racist.
It's like, really? I was like, is this what we're doing?
And men do that all the time.
I'm like, they're athletes. They're competing, trash talking. Like, what? This whole idea, what are they? You want them to be ladylike? Should they come on with dainty teacups and dresses? Is that what you would like?
That's why that's why, honestly, and I'm not saying I'm not a huge fan of the word lady unless you're going, "Hey, lady,"
which is a New York thing.
Jerry Lewis, isn't that Jerry Lewis? Hey, lady.
Okay, talk about a horrible, mean person.
Right. Well, he's dead, so we don't have to talk about him at all. Anyway, the Knicks are in the playoffs.
Our Knicks, listen. I know you guys, and I have people make fun of y'all. Slow down, Dynasty. I'm like, listen, we're having fun.
We're having fun.
This team is a scrappy team. We have been losing for so long, and we're going to have some fun, and we're going to celebrate our Knicks.
If it lasts a week, that's a week I didn't have 5 years ago.
Absolutely, and we love our Knicks. New York City is a Knicks town.
We are.
We are in the playoffs.
We are.
We love watching us be scrappy.
When's it starting? Who do we play?
Well, we most likely it will be Cleveland.
Cleveland?
Most likely it'll be Cleveland. We won't know till these last few games really solidify. But yeah, like, listen, I love that we're scrappy, and I love that we don't give up, and I love that everybody was ready to act like we were the worst for not getting the biggest names and giving up all of our draft picks. We did it a different way. And was it kind of hard to watch? Sure, we were all like, what's happening? But at the end of the day, we're in the playoffs, 2023.
I do want to say, you were ready to get rid of Thibodeau like early on, so everybody was. And
I'm still not 100% on him, if I can be honest with you.
Well,
but New York is a fun town when there's postseason basketball going on, right?
Yeah,
and I love that I love that it's going to happen for the Nets too. New York is. Yes, they're right behind the Knicks, so more than likely they're right. But it's not, because I do think that it brings good economics for all of those restaurants around Barclays and all of the stuff in the city. I like that people in the service industry, will have a lot of people coming into town, so that means there's work for people. I always think of it like that, because I have friends who bartend at the arenas and stuff, and so it's always good when there's extra stuff going on in the city, and it's exciting. It's exciting.
Yeah, it'd be good. Like I said, if it lasts a week, I'm happy.
Yeah, because you and I don't care that it's baseball season. We don't care that the Yankees and the Mets.
That's not true. Why do you say that?
Because we never talk about it.
Because it just started.
But even we've done this show for 4 years and we've never talked about it.
You know why? Honestly, I do like baseball because there's something, honestly, the Knicks, it's a different kind. Look, basketball is a much faster paced game, and it involves a lot less strategy. I don't going to see a baseball game in a stadium is a blast. Watching baseball on television is literally like watching paint dry. It really is. But I'm happy, I was on the train last week and I saw a whole bunch of obviously confused white people from the suburbs wearing down coats with Yankee insignia. And I'm like, oh my God, it's opening day and it's 40 degrees outside. And there's all these new rules now in baseball, which I don't understand.
There's new rules about the amount of time on the pitcher's mound.
They're trying to speed up the game.
And what it's done is evidently it's cut like a half hour off of the game.
That's good. Because
sometimes, let me just tell you something. I've been to games where I've walked out of there like 1-something in the morning, like that was a lot.
I had my bridal shower at a Yankees Bo Sox game because I had guys, male friends, how dare I, coming in for my wedding, and I wanted to do something that we could bring the guys. And they were playing Boston, and as you know, I hate Boston. And the ex-husband was from the Boston area. This, again, another clue that this was not a good idea. But anyway, and it was like, if I tell you that we're going into like the 10th or 11th inning, and I'm like, all right, this is a great game, but I think I'm getting married tomorrow.
Right, and you're like, I
gotta go home.
I might need a little sleep.
I might need a little maquillage.
It's so funny. The last game I went to was a Red Sox, Yankees Red Sox game. This was years ago because Big Papi, this was probably the year before he retired. And we had great seats because a friend, I went with a friend of mine who's really good friend worked for Major League Baseball. So she gave us Legends tickets. And I don't know if you've ever had the Legends tickets, which is great.
I had good seats there and it's lovely.
And all the food is free and drinks and stuff.
It's lovely.
And it's like, what? I can get unlimited candy, milkshakes, and French fries and hot dogs.
$27 bag of French fries.
I'll have side one, please, of the menu. Thank you.
I know. It's really fun. You get kind of spoiled once you get that. But
you really do. It's hard. It is very hard to go sit someplace else after you've done that.
Yeah. In the I got tickets years ago. They were this is so Lucian, some kind of hookup, and it was the Modell's area at I hate calling it Citi Field, even though I know it's Citi Field, but it's
Shea Stadium. Motherfucker Shea. Absolutely.
But it was the area where was the Mo Zone. I went, I'm going to rethink that. It's just not a good name for a place.
I miss Modell's. Let me just tell you something.
I do miss
Modell's. I had one up the street. I'd be like, oh my God, I need some white t-shirts and I need some socks. And I would run up to Moe's. I need a new jockstrap. Go up to Moe's and they had everything I needed.
No,
you know
Modell's
what I mean?
was great. Baby needs a new pair of inexpensive but still stylish sneakers. Boom.
You go to motherfucking Moe's. They were right
$25.
there.
There they are. All right. Yeah. All right. So Trump, can I tell you something honestly? And I'm not saying this to be wake me up when he's in jail. Wake me up when he's I'm not saying, but wake me up when he's doing real time for a real thing in a state that he won. I'm not saying this is politically motivated, but wake me up when they have him in a jumpsuit.
I can't this, whatever's going to be unveiled here today. I'm like, okay, great. I need to know what is happening with the obstruction cases in Georgia.
It's proceeding. Yeah.
Those are the things I'm really trying to focus on. But if I can be honest with you, and this is my short political rant, and then we can move on because we have to take a break. I'm over all the investigations on every side of everything. I'm over it. I feel like on the right and the left, you come to us, the people, to say, we realize your lives are hard, inflation, all these things, crime, we're coming to make it better. Then everyone gets in office and it's committees and investigations. It is time to fucking help the people. People need help in this country. It is falling apart. And what we're doing is sitting, watching you all have investigation after investigation, but you're not helping any of the people that actually put you in office. Well, and for the people who they're constantly getting angry, like they like you angry and screaming because you're screaming the things they want you to scream, but they're not doing anything to help you.
Well, both parties are guilty, but the Democrats have passed a lot. If the Republicans are blocking a lot of the things that could make our lives better. I mean, if you try to keep people from voting, that's against the law. So.
Absolutely. But if the Democrats keep trying to they're not even bringing a knife to a gunfight. You're bringing sand to a gunfight. You're going to keep getting blocked. So maybe then you need to put on your take off your boxing gloves and bare knuckle it like the Republicans are doing, because all of this is not helping anybody. It's not helping the Republicans. Those Republicans who are upset and poor and fucked up, you're still upset and poor and fucked up.
Maybe you should not vote Republican.
It's like, at this point, I think we just need a whole new I need young people to get into politics because they're the future. Oh, they are the future.
Young people aren't. Come on, look at some of these new Republicans. George Santos is a young person.
Well, but we don't even know what he is. And the fact that we're not even talking about him anymore is the fact that he's still there just lets you know the problem with everything.
And getting a pension, he'll get a pension.
Right? Because he has that job, he will have all of those lifetime benefits. This man is just who is he?
Well, there you go.
I'm just over it.
Ladies and gentlemen, your Republican Party in 2023.
And with that, we're going to take a break and we'll be right back.
Hello, Pantheon Podcast listeners. Christian Swain here to tell you more about my experience with Raycon earbuds. Our family now has 3 pairs of Raycon earbuds around the house, and my wife just grabbed a pair of the Headphone Pros to replace some headphones from a company that was double the price. And yes, she loves them. Now, if you haven't pulled the trigger on a pair of Raycons, or even if you have, but you're in the market for another pair because they're just that good, well, now is the time to check them out, because they just launched their upgraded model of the best-selling everyday earbuds. With Raycon's upgraded everyday earbuds, now you also get active noise cancellation, ergonomic design, and multi-point connectivity that lets you pair with 2 devices at once. New quick charge function, 3 customizable sound styles, plus awareness mode. Available in a variety of vibrant new colors to complement any and all skin tones. I even have a pair of earbuds in a cool green color. I have tried just about every earbud known to humankind, and these Raycons are fantastic. Seriously, if you've been wanting to check out Raycons, there truly is no better time. You're going to ask yourself why you didn't check them out sooner, and Raycon offers a 30-day happiness guarantee. So what are you waiting for? Go to buyraycon.com/Pantheon today to get 20% off your Raycon order, plus free shipping. That's right, you'll get 20% off and free shipping at buyraycon.com/Pantheon. buyraycon.com/Pantheon.
And we're back. What's next?
Well, you want to talk? I don't want to talk. I mean, we've DeSantis. I mean, I don't even want to give the guy oxygen, but it's an important.
But it's not about him. It's about what Disney did, which was super fucking fierce. The outgoing board, the one that got replaced by the DeSantis shit, pulled what the Republicans have done in a bunch of states. And very quietly, one of their last acts was to create all of these new rules that basically strip that new board coming in of all of its power. And they had it ratified and it's all done. It's the same thing the Republicans did. Remember those states when they lost and then they changed the power structure so that the new incoming governor
could... for Disney, I mean, it's great and it's a great, switcheroo, and it's always nice when, but I mean, it's basically protecting sovereign status and tax status for Disney World. It's not like they're feeding the poor. I'm glad it's happening, and it is good to watch the Republicans.
But it's not about that to me. It's about, you can't bully. If you don't like a company's, if we're now saying that if a company speaks out about something, the largest employer in your state speaks out about something that you're doing that is actually pretty bigoted, and your idea is, oh, you speak out against me and here's revenge. I don't think that that's what anybody elects you for, to try to exact your revenge on someone. You know what I mean? It's like, that's kind of nuts.
Look, I think DeSantis is just a creep. I mean, he's just a creep and he's a fascist, and I don't throw that term around lightly. But the people of Florida voted him in with the largest margin. So the people of Florida are, I mean, we're watching it and it's like a fun sideshow, and they're, but the people of Florida don't seem to have a problem with books being banned or corporations being punished for speaking up for civil rights. So maybe the people of Florida, maybe this is who these people are. Sometimes we just have to go, you know what? Maybe people aren't as good as we'd like them to, you know what I mean? Because it's not like it was a tight race.
Right. No.
And it's not like he did anything amazing for the state to begin with. I mean, I just think he's a nasty piece of work. You know what I mean? I think he's just a nasty, and he has the personality of a baked potato too. I mean, he's just like another one. But yeah, I mean, good. Whoever thought, Disney, the company founded by an anti-Semite and a racist, we'd be like, yay, go Disney.
I mean, this thing.
Walt would be spinning in his grave right now.
If we didn't think we're in some crazy final days, that statement right there sums it all up. Absolutely. It's kind of like, okay.
Yay. Walt's going, no, gay bad. Right. Yeah, it is. All right. Papaya King. I've had papaya drinks there. I don't know if I've ever had a hot dog. I don't eat meat.
You used to eat meat.
I don't think I'd eat a papaya. The drinks, though, the papaya drinks were fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Listen,
wasn't there one on 8th Street too? Is that a different
Gray's
one?
Papaya, legendarily on the corner, on the corner of 8th and 6th Avenue, legendarily for years. That was in the beginning. It used to be like the deal was like $2. It was 2 hot dogs. It was like $2.75. It was 2 hot dogs and a drink. And when I used to work at the Wiz, nobody beats the Wiz. Nobody beats the Wiz. I used to work at the Wiz on 7th Avenue. They had it downstairs and upstairs, and it was right next to Gray's Papaya. So my lunch, I used to run over and get my hot dogs and my drink. Back when the Village was amazing.
All right, here's my question. So the reason we're talking about this, not because we're fiending for papaya drink, is because the Papaya King, which I guess is the first one. It's like the raised.
It's the original one.
The Papaya King, which was on Upper East Side, right? 81st and Lexington, right outside the 4th. Right outside the 4 train stop, right?
86 and 3rd. And it's been there for over 100 years. And now
100 years?
Yeah, it's been there for, I believe it's been there for like over 100 years. I think so.
There were papayas 100 years ago?
Maybe. I don't think it's
been there a long time.
It's been there a really long time.
And it was going to be evicted, and now it's going to move to another place.
Because, of course, it's a low-lying building, which has been sold because what do we need? More than glass luxury apartments on that corner. But it's gotten a reprieve, and they are moving across the street.
All right, here's my question. I just want to ask a question. Like, when did papaya become a thing to drink? I'm being serious. Like, it's just an interesting, because it's not indigenous to New York, obviously. Right. Is it? I feel like it's one of those things where somebody was like, you know what, papayas are healthy. Let's sell, like Orange Julius. Remember Orange Julius? Love.
Oh my God.
Love.
From Needix. I would go to Needix and get an orange. Please do not. See, that's old school New York.
All right, wait a minute. Hold on. Shush, I'm having a moment. Shush. I am tasting the Orange Julius on my lips.
You have to be a certain age, a certain era in New York.
But weren't they from Cali, Orange Julius?
I don't know where they were from.
They showed up from Cali.
But there was a time in New York where the Orange Julius.
That was living. That was high class living right there.
It was so good.
Orange Julius, and then we're gonna stop tripping down New York food lane. Chock full of nuts, date nut bread with cream cheese.
No. Do you remember?
And those donuts.
Do you remember the one that used to be in Times Square?
Yes.
And it had the coffee, and it was like it used to have the smoke coming out of the situation. That chock full of nuts is a heavenly coffee. Better coffee a millionaire's money can buy.
We're probably going to have to pay royalties on that. We're going to be saying it really short. But I remember when I'd go into the city, and I'd go to like visit my dad. Well, not by myself when I was a little kid. My dad would take me to work with him, chock full of nuts, and we'd sit in this the circular thing. My dad has this story, which of course I don't remember, about me being a little kid and my face being kind of dirty, and the nice lady, because remember the waitresses were always in the middle, and you were in the circle, and this nice old lady comes over and takes a little wet napkin and cleans my face for me. Oh, I love chock full of nuts. It was so good. I can't believe some hipster, seriously, knowing the way hipsters like to take things and act like they invented it. Right. I can't believe some hipster hasn't brought back, except that the sandwiches would be like $75.
No, because now everybody wants an artisanal coffee. It's like, we have this, and they're like, this coffee comes from...
No, I'm talking about the date nut sandwiches, that they haven't brought those. Because they're healthy, right? Kind of. It's got a nut in it. Yeah, dates.
You know what I mean?
No,
and bread.
And bread. And cheese. It's got all your basic protein.
It's all your basic food
protein.
Groups.
It's like a meal. I know. I love. Oh my God. See, now I want one.
Chock full of
nuts. They still sell chock full of nuts.
Yeah, they do. They still sell it.
All right, we can't sing the song. We're gonna get sued.
The funny thing is, it's like, I look at New York now, right? And I guess it's exciting for someone, but to me, it's almost like it could be any city, because everything that made New York great, they're kind of wiping away. It's like,
you could say that country. You go other cities. It's just happening everywhere. It's money.
Yeah, they're just wiping everything away.
It's just money. It's just money. But chock full of nuts. I'm going to be thinking about that all day. We could do an entire show just talking about the food of our childhood in New York. Schraff's.
What is it?
The automat?
The automat? Come on.
That was the easiest way to amuse a child. That was the way when you were a kid to go to Hornet Hearts and the automat, which was like in Midtown, right?
It was,
40, like around, and you would open the little door and a person would slide the mac and cheese toward you. And if you're like 5 years old, that's literally like, all right, we can't afford to take you to Disneyland.
It's the most fascinating thing for you, because the dessert ones. It was everything. Or like, I don't know if you guys, here's another old school New York shit. Do you remember Beefsteak Charlie's?
Yeah, but
Beefsteak Charlie's with the shit. And they used to have a dessert. This is back when, I guess, fancy restaurants still have a dessert cart, but that's like, here, you can have a $50 piece of cake.
They wind them around.
And Beefsteak Charlie, for kids, you could make your own ice cream sundae. And that dessert cart would come. And I have always been a person who loves ice cream. And that just was like, come on. I don't think they do that kind of shit anymore, because I hear everybody just will sit there and...
No, it's probably health department. Honestly, it's probably health department stuff. Because I've been going to Sahadi's on Atlantic Avenue. Shout out to my Sahadi people, for like 35 years, and you used to be able to serve yourself.
Right.
That's health department stuff. That's Giuliani's legacy. He made it like, the health department, really? Like, no one has ever gotten sick from touching whatever. But
like you think about how many times growing up in New York, we went to the bodega, got a sandwich. There was no ratings on the door. We went to Chinese.
Well, I appreciate that. I would like.
Well, I do now, but that's changed the whole thing. I'm thinking about all the shit I used to eat. Nobody thought about that. Now I'll be like, they have a B. I'm not going.
People smoked when they were pregnant too. I mean, and remember that brief moment where they thought cocaine wasn't addictive? Do you remember that brief moment in time? No, it's not addictive.
They're like, it's fun. It's just like a party.
It's not addictive.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Nothing bad's going to come from this.
Nothing bad. Yeah, it's fine. What could happen? What could possibly happen with you doing a drug that you have to do every 5 minutes?
But at least back then it was actually coke. These days it's like,
I don't know. Honestly,
but fun fact, without spilling any names, I have friends. Listen,
who are still doing coke?
No. I've never done coke. I've never done coke in my life. I've never tried it. But I have friends who that was their party joke, but they've all stopped because of, and they weren't like heavy, but they were like, occasionally get some coke. Because of the whole fentanyl thing, that has stopped them.
Yeah. Well, that's a whole.
I have a couple of they're like, well, I can't trust what's out there now. I'm like, that's the thing that made you stop?
Yeah, really. The fact that it's addictive and expensive, and people who do coke are
you didn't think you could have dropped dead from all the other shit? It's the fentanyl.
The fact that people who do coke are literally, I think it was Randy Newman said, the problem with cocaine is it makes you think you're smart. Like, there is nothing worse than being stuck in a room with someone who's like.
I am so glad I never tried it. Could you imagine me on cocaine? Could you even picture?
It would probably have the reverse effect. Like, you know how they give Ritalin to hyperactive children? Mm-hmm. It would probably have the reverse effect on you in that you would be like super mellow and like, yeah, it would probably, you would not be cleaning your house like a crazy person. Might have been a good thing. You might want to look into a court.
At this point, I'm too late. I think at 55 you have to take things off the list.
No, I think you take.
You can't start adding. That can't be the time where, like, you know what? I think I'm going to try heroin now.
Courtney. Actually, when you're older is when you need to. That's when you don't need it when you're 20. This is when the real shit starts. Do you know? I don't know if you know this, Courtney. Drugs are not good for you. I remember someone saying that once, telling me that, you know, drugs can really destroy lives. Did you know that?
Well, it's like the old school, I don't know, we're very New York centric today. But there used to be this commercial where it's like this Hispanic father comes home from work.
I was making a reference. Yeah. Don't you remember that?
And he was coming in from work and he comes in and the kid has the works out and he says, "Why are you doing this?" "I learned it from you. I learned it from watching you." You remember that commercial? And it would come on like after school. It was aimed at kids. It would come on during all the kids shows. Yeah. I remember just being like, "What's that?
What is that? What is happening here? Why are we watching? Just give me the eggs in the frying pan."
I'm trying to watch The Little Rascals. Oh my God, I forgot the eggs in the frying pan. That was, this is
you
your
don't
brain.
Quote that all the time.
This is your brain on drugs.
This is your brain on drugs. And you're sitting there going, "Is that with home fries?"
No, I was like, "Do you put salt and pepper on the eggs?" I'm trying to figure it out.
Sunny side up.
I don't know.
All right, you can talk about Escape SUV because I don't. Yeah, you're watching.
I'm obsessed with this show.
I know.
I just would like to thank
Mona. Twitter is very into.
I would like to thank Mona Scott Young. And
is this Mona?
This is Mona and Stephanie.
She's an evil genius,
Mona. I want to thank you for giving me something that I did not know I needed. Well, I just didn't know I needed. Does anybody want to watch a family imploding? No, but I'm going to do it.
Wait a minute. Stop. Does anyone want to watch a family imploding? I'm sorry. Have you been in a coma for the last 30 years? I'm sorry. What? What? Courtney, I want to introduce to you a little concept that the people like to call the reality television.
True.
Okay. I just want to inject a moment of like clarity into your rant about an insane show. Please continue.
Except those people all seem like freaks right from the beginning. This one is really hard to watch. Sisters, accusations of money being stolen, shady
Candy
husband.
In the show? Is Candy in the show?
Yes, she is.
Oh, that Absolutely. Candy. You go, Candy. You got those Ed Sheeran money, and you got like 3 reality shows at one time.
She's a producer on The Piano Lesson on Broadway.
Oh, good for her.
They've got a prefix dinner at the Brooklyn Chop House in Times Square, which you do a thing when it comes to, you could do a prefix and dinner
Why
and
is
the
it
tickets
called
to the
Brooklyn
show.
Chop House if it's in the city? These are the questions that keep me up at night, Courtney. I just want to
because it's a chop, and then they said,
and a house.
But our house is in Brooklyn.
Oh, okay.
and both locations are in Manhattan.
Yeah, I don't get that at all, but whatever. Is that like an Eric Adams place type of place?
Sweetie, everything's an Eric Adams
What
place.
did I just see the other day? It was somebody's wedding or some event, something, and it's like, there he is. He's
He's at
like
everything.
Waldo. He's every. No, but it was something like so crazy, and I was gonna post it, and then I went, you know what? I don't want to even give this knucklehead any oxygen at this point, but it was just really funny. It was literally like he was at somebody's bar mitzvah or something. He's crazy.
At everything.
Well, he has kind of, but it was just great. Yeah. So go back to Escape and SWV. 2 things. I know.
It's ridiculous. It's horrible. There's one more episode left, and I'm so ready for it that I'm already sitting in front of the television. Like, is it Sunday yet?
Is what's his face in it? Cutie Pie rapper, Cutie Pie. Tiny's husband.
No, it's really about the late.
I can't remember.
T.I.
Thank you.
It's really about. I'm not really a fan of his.
Looking at him is fun.
Yeah, I don't think
You don't find him attractive?
No.
Oh, I think he's like really cute.
Really?
Yeah, he's got the man vibe. Totally. Yeah, him, Method Man, Redman, they got the man vibe. They got yeah, I would not. Yeah, I'm sure he's not a great person, but what else is new? Yeah, I think he's cute. Yeah. But anyway,
he's not my favorite. It's not my favorite.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think about him ever, but and he's actually quite. Anyway, go back to your show. I shouldn't.
I do want to say
obsession on this show
that I didn't realize until today how much you look like Marjorie Taylor Greene. But as we're sitting here,
fuck you. And you look like who's that black guy who ran for president who died? The pizza guy.
The pizza.
Who? The black guy that ran for president, Herbert Hoover. What was his name?
No. Oh wait.
What was his name? Google black guy, and you don't look anything like him.
No, you don't look like. No, you don't look like it. But
I don't have a space laser for number one.
No, and you don't.
Or bad extensions.
This is the only listen.
Why can't rich people buy good extensions? Like Britney, same thing. Girl, you got more money than God. Can't you get used? And I'm not trying to be bitchy because
no, that's not bitchy. That's like there's no reason why your hair needs to look like that.
I mean, come on. There's a reason. Even I, who am basically broke, I don't do a lot with my hair, but I would. Yeah, it looks like you glued on Lee press-on nails into your head. Anyway,
did you watch the 60 Minutes interview?
No, not at all.
Well, I didn't know.
You know why? I'm sorry. First off, what happens on Sunday, Courtney?
90 Day Fiance.
Yes.
Well, the funny thing is this. I tend to watch 60 Minutes. I didn't realize she had an interview coming up because I've been really avoiding the news and all that because it's just been everything has been about what's happening today downtown. So my TV is on channel 2. I walk by, she's on the screen. I'm like, what's happening? I start watching part of it. But I just found myself yelling at Leslie Stahl. I'm like, okay, you are a real journalist. You're not, listen, I believe you can't just interview Democrats. You have to interview everybody. I absolutely understand that. But I also don't think if somebody's sitting there confusing gender with sexuality and calling people pedophiles, I think you as the journalist, seasoned journalist, need to have a little bit more of a pushback and a dialogue on that.
Let's just talk about, you know what? Yeah, we don't need to hear what this woman said because 2 years ago she was censored by her own party. She's a raging anti-Semite. Right. She's a racist. She's a raging homophobe. She's got the IQ of a doorknob, and that's an insult to doorknobs. She's a bad person. And you know what? No, I mean, you don't, or if you're going to put her on, make her sit next to somebody from the Anti-Defamation League or make her sit next to somebody who's going to shut her down because you can't. It's just ridiculous.
Or really comment, don't do some soft. This is 60 fucking minutes. It felt like she was on like Ellen or Kelly Clarkson, where it's like, you go on there and it's like you're sitting and you're talking with friends. It's like, if she's going to say those things and you're a journalist, you need to be digging into that.
Have you seen the meme going around about the 60 Minutes interview with Charlie Manson? And they go, the man who's just in your face and or Charlie, as he's known by his nicknames, he's just pushing. No, she's a horrible human being. And we keep giving these people credibility.
It's horrible. I feel like giving her, and when I was saying about, I believe you got to give both sides. I can't believe she was the side they chose for the Republicans, and then to let her sit there and call. I just think throwing the term pedophile around is really dangerous. That's really dangerous. And then you're talking about gender, which is not the same as sexuality and sexualizing children. But that's what I don't know if you and I have had this conversation really deep. I think a lot of when you see all of these bills and the laws, when people think about us as LGBTQIA plus people, they just reduce us to sex and the bedroom.
That with women too.
And it's just kind of like, I didn't wake up this morning knocking dicks out of my way. You know what I mean? It's like, we get up, we go to work.
Not that you didn't want to, Courtney.
Not that I didn't want to, but that's not what happened. I know. I got up with a bad back and a stubbed toe.
But you know what? And somebody made a great point. If you want to talk about pedophilia, one of the last speakers of the House, Dennis Hastert, was convicted of pedophilia. Let's talk about the Catholic Church. I mean, let's go down. Let's go down the list.
Let's talk about. Was it more? Weren't you guys trying to elect a governor? Was it in Arkansas who was accused?
Yeah, one of those states.
And you know what I mean? And it wasn't Georgia. I believe it was either Arkansas or Alabama. It was one of the A's.
It was Alabama.
And you try to push him through. You guys have pushed through 2 Supreme Court judges who had women who said they were sexually assaulted by them. And it's like, you guys keep saying you care about children, but children are being killed in school. It's crazy.
You know what they care about? Fetuses. They care about fetuses, and they only care about white Christian children. They don't care.
But they don't even care about them, because white Christian children were just shot in their school and they've done nothing.
They don't care. They don't care. I mean, I think that we can put this in the Madonna box at this point, in terms of or the Kanye box. They don't care. They're never going to care. Most of them are amoral, and the ones who do have a streak of morality are refusing to speak up because they're scared of a failed businessman in New York City, and they don't care. I mean, it's like they don't care. They have no issue if you get beat up and die. They have no issue if women die on the streets. They don't care. They don't want people to. I mean, seriously, I'm not trying to. They don't care. I mean, that's the thing. It's like begging your boyfriend to take you back. He don't care. They don't care about us. They don't. All I want to say is that I can't wait to sing another song. I can't sing another song.
Michael Jackson was telling us some shit when some of those songs.
Except that let's not. We're talking about pedophiles, so we might want to make
allegedly.
Allegedly. All right. Are you listening to anything other than the? I'm not. I'm not. I told you about that. I'm not really. I don't know.
This weekend is really nothing new. It's been a lot of Mylyn Farmer.
Oh, gee. All right, Candace Crossley, my best friend, my wife, my everything. She wants to know what your issue with blind faith is.
Now, I saw when she made that comment, but I didn't say anything about blind faith. So
yes,
somebody else
did. I said I've been listening to Blind Faith, and I explained it to her. I said it was no, and you said willingly.
Oh yeah.
As if the police came to my house and said, "Amy, today, Sea of Joy on repeat."
I mean,
you did say willingly.
Kind of, sorta. It's just like, I don't,
You have to understand, if you're of a certain age, there are certain groups. So, and I explained it to my wife, my first, my last, my everything. But it was just so funny because I was like, A, what are you talking about? And B, why do you have all these weird little initials? Stop spazzing out when you're typing, Grandma. And no, but hi, Candace. Hi, Katie Taylor.
Hey,
Katie
guys.
Taylor. Katie Taylor is very concerned that we're taking breaks all of a sudden. She was concerned. She thought something had happened, that we've been seized by the FCC or something.
No, we've been seized by, it's called a commercial.
Yeah. But it was so funny. She goes, why are you guys taking breaks? What happened? I went, it's a strategic move on Courtney's part. He's no dummy. So, there hasn't been really much out this week. It's just sort of like, I've been playing a ton of Tony Sons of Soul because I love that record, and it's like it's its anniversary, or no, it's the House of Music. I don't know. Everything's there's an anniversary every day.
I have been trying to get into this Larry June and the Alchemist Great Escape album, which dropped last week. No, it's hip hop.
Oh, okay, Larry June and the Alchemist album.
The Alchemist.
Okay,
it's a new record, and you know what I've been listening to that is not terrible? T-Pain.
Okay, can I just say that your endorsements are like, it's better than a poke in the eye with a sharp stick. Courtney, you can die of Ebola or you can die of dengue fever. I'll take dengue.
Right. T-Pain has a covers album called On Top of the Covers where he's singing.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
Where he's singing.
He's a good singer.
And it's really good.
He's a really good singer.
That's the thing. It's really good. He didn't need that
stupid auto-tune. He knows how to sing.
Yeah, he does know how to sing.
I know. I was like, the first time I heard him without auto-tune, I was like, dude, why aren't you just singing? I mean, I guess the auto-tune was kind of the gimmick and stuff like that. People are dying right and left. I think that's really unfortunate. About the whole dying thing. All right. Anything else you want to mention? I've just been like.
No, that's it.
Okay.
More Knicks, less Trump. When's
the first game?
Well, the season's still not over. So
right. I got it. Yeah, I was going to say. I know it's bad enough that daylight savings time came like literally a month before it normally does.
The season ends this week, and then we're going to go.
Yeah, and March Madness came a little late, and is it my imagination, or is the baseball season started really early this year too?
No, this is around the time.
Is it really? Mm-hmm. I always think everything's April, but the allergy season is here.
Mine haven't kicked in yet.
Oh, good girl.
Yeah, mine haven't kicked in yet.
I'm just like, whatever. All right, take it home.
Thank you so much, everybody, for listening to I'ma Let You Finish on the Pantheon Podcast Network, where you can get over 60 amazing music shows that run the gamut of every type of music. So remember to follow Pantheon Podcast Network, download the Pantheon Podcast app, follow Pantheon Podcast on YouTube, and you can hear our audio on YouTube as well. And you know what to do with us. Thank you for listening. All of our listeners at Spotify, Apple, Deezer, Google, Stitcher.
I was going to say, what happened?
Everywhere.
Another outlet? Cool.
You know what to do. Leave a rating, leave a comment, follow our Facebook page at I'ma Let You Finish, all one word. Follow our Instagram, I'll Let You Finish NY. Follow us on Twitter. For now, at Finish Ima.
Yeah, can we cut? I mean, really? I mean, it's
we still have people who follow us.
Well, we can take them somewhere else.
Yeah, but if they don't go there, like now, we gotta stay. Listen, Miss Thing. Right. Right now, we're not cutting where we reach our audience. You know what I mean? It's like
being in bed with that guy. I really
well, this is why we like. Listen, I was like, should we do the Verified program? I was like, I can't pay Elon Musk. I just can't do it.
Oh, no, we're not giving him a nickel.
And then, remember when I sent you the note the other day? Because it's like, oh, you guys, do you want to do the Verified? And it would have verified both our Facebook page and IG. And IG. And I was like, I just don't want to give Mark Zuckerberg $14.90. I just don't want to
Verified to prove that we're us. We know we're us. I know I'm me. Every day I wake up and I'm like, look at me. I'm me.
I've been to paradise, but I've never been to me.
I've never been to me, but I know it's me when I wake up in the morning because I look in the mirror and I go, oh, it's still you. Great.
And with that note, we will see you next week. Bye.
It's NFL draft season, and that means it's time to start thinking about fantasy football. FantasyPoints.com features industry-leading experts and prognosticators using proprietary hand-charted data to help you score more fantasy points. FantasyPoints.com is the place to go for whatever kind of fantasy football you play. Whether you play fantasy football, daily fantasy sports, or do a little bit of everything, Fantasy Points has the meticulously researched content to guide you to victory. And why wait for the fall? Fantasy Points also covers the new spring football league, the UFL. Join the guru, John Hansen, Scott Barrett, Joe Dolan, and other massive names in the fantasy football universe with an exclusive offer. Use code Pantheon for 15% off any Fantasy Points package, including the all-in package, with access to every article, tool, and data nugget that Fantasy Points has to offer. That's FantasyPoints.com and code Pantheon for 15% off at Fantasy Points. FantasyPoints.com, code Pantheon. Score more fantasy points.